Hi everybody, I'm Stefan for PhotoTuts, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to create these beautiful paint splatters. To make things easier for you, I will split the tutorial into several sections, and here is a quick list of the topics that we are going to cover today. First, we will list the needed materials. Then we are going to prepare the materials to splat some paint. After that we are going to create the paint splatters, and then we are going to set up our whitening and shoot our splatters with the camera, and finally we are going to retouch them in Photoshop. Okay, let's move on to the first section of the tutorial. First thing we need is a black tempera paint. I got mine for around $3. As you can see, it's pretty big tube. I think it's 225 milliliters, which is a lot of paint, so you can create thousands of paint splatters. The next thing we need is a syringe. We will use that to splat the paint, as you will see in a minute. Another thing we will use is a dropper. It's optional, but I prefer it because it makes my life easier. Next we need something where we will prepare the paint. I got a simple cap of a bottle, but you can use everything you want. I found that this is the most comfortable for me. And we need a paintbrush, glass of water and some white printer paper. Now we are going to prepare our paint. First, we will drop some paint into the cap. After that, we are going to add some water using the dropper. Remember that the final look depends on that how much water you add to your paint. The paint itself is thick. If you add too much water, it will become too thin. You need to add just a bit of water to make it nice and smooth, not too thick and not too thin. Finally, we will mix it up using the paintbrush. After doing that, we are going to suck the paint inside the syringe. Now let's go to create some paint splatters. Okay, so just put a piece of white paper to the ground. Very quickly push the syringe. This will splat the paint the way we want. As you can see, this is our white setup. We will use it to white up the papers with the splats and shoot them with our camera. It's a very simple setup. It uses only two whites. Mine are different because I don't have two that are exactly the same, but you can use any kind of whites to white up this. Just make sure that you have two strong whites to white up the papers to get even whitening. It's time for shooting our paint splatters. I'm going to use my old consumer camera Canon PowerShot A550 because I'm recording the video you are watching with my Canon 550D, or also known as T2i. The pictures may look underexposed, but that's because the camera I'm using doesn't have a lot of manual control options. But that's okay because we are going to retouch all the images in Photoshop. Now let's see how our images look like. Let's import them in Photoshop. Let's start with maybe this one. First of all, we are going to rotate it like so. After that, we are going to crop it because we don't want this part at the bottom right here. So let's crop it. After that, we are going to go to Image, Adjustments, Levels, and bring up the levels, and just start to crank up the whites so everything becomes white instead of the ink paint splatter. And don't crank it up too much, because if you do that, you're going to lose detail, as you can see. I think something about 120 should work perfect, and hit OK. If you have some dark edges like here, just select the paintbrush tool and using a white color paint it out. Don't worry about small drips like this here, just delete them, and everything looks great to me. As you can see here, we have some very good organic looking splatter. Another thing you can do to make it look better is come to Image, Adjustments, and select Desaturate. This way it will stay only black and white and look better. And you can see this kind of a watercolor look here. It's very organic and natural looking. I think this is one of the best I've created, especially for this tutorial. And you can delete some smaller parts of the paint splatter, like this here, maybe this here, and this one here, just to crop it and reduce the size. Just delete these small drops like so. We don't want them because they are too small. And after cleaning the image, select the crop tool again and just crop it like so. And after you are done, you can see how big is your image. It's pretty big, but you can change the canvas size. Just make the layer from background to a layer, just Alt and double click to make that, and come to Image, Canvas Size, and reduce the canvas size to 2500 in width, and hit OK and click Proceed. Just select the layer, Ctrl T to bring the transform tool and scale it down a bit, and maybe again crop it like so. And if you want to create a brush for Photoshop, you can come to Edit, Define Brush Preset, and let's call it Paint. Let's call it Paint Splatter 1, and hit OK. and you can use this as a brush, you can use it as a texture, you can animate it in After Effects, for example. And let's see the rest of the images. These look very washed out here. Let's crop it really quickly and retouch it for a second to see how this one will look. Let's rotate it and again apply levels. Control L is the shortcut for levels. Crank it up and you can see we are starting to lose detail on this part. If we crank it up too much, I think 135 or 140, maybe 45, it's okay. As you can see, it looks great. Also, you can apply levels again. Oops, not that, levels, and bring up the blacks to bring up the detail again. So as you can see, we've got our detail here. I think 100 is okay, and again desaturate that. Control Shift U to do that, and as you can see, this one looks great. Select the brush, paint out the parts you don't need, and creating a brush is one of the easiest way to get rid of the white in the image and leave only the black, gray and other colors. So this is a very cool technique to extract ink splatters or paint splatters from a white background, because everything what's white becomes alpha or transparent, and everything which is different from white is opaque. So this is a great technique, and let's take a look at the final image. This one is not so good, but you can use the same technique to retouch it. And I guess that's about everything from start to finish, how to create your own paint splatter, brushes, images, textures or whatever you want. Remember that you can splat several times on a same paper with different colors to get different looking textures, images and stuff like that. And don't forget to get some strong nice whites and a good camera. I recommend you the T2i. It's a really awesome camera. It takes great pictures and awesome HD video. So yeah, that's about everything. Hope you like this tutorial and it was very useful for you, and see you next time.